This LSU situation, is LSU a good job? Just here we are on Wednesday. Is LSU a good job? Like, because this bite we're about to play from Jeff Landry, the governor of Louisiana, the governor of Louisiana today, speaking of conjuring, said some stuff that, I don't know. I could be wrong.
Family.
I don't think this helps the hiring process. I could be wrong.
I can tell you right now, Scott Woodward is not selecting the next coach. Hell, I'll let Donald Trump select it before I let him do it. I don't know, but the Board of Supervisors is going to come up with a committee, and they're going to go find us a coach.
Ooh, you're the governor. Cool. Great.
So what you're saying is Donnie's hiring Marjorie Taylor Greene to be the next head coach in LSU. All right, here's your new head coach, Kristi Noem.
Imika Egbegbo.
If Donnie was going to hire the coach, who would it be?
Nick Saban.
All right, Kash Patel, the new head coach.
Yeah. Right.
Our defensive coordinator will be Pete Hegseth.
And I'll see you in Valhalla.
Valhalla, brought to you by Valhalla Cruise Lines. Can you imagine if Donald Trump was making this hire? Who would he hire? Who would Donald Trump hire to beat?
I don't know, bro. I can't imagine a world where the president of the United States is worried about hiring a college football coach. I don't know how we got here.
I have no idea. I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't know what he's doing, but something Jeff Landry said today that did make a lot of sense.
You need to start looking at who represents all these people, like these agents. You know what's interesting? If I'm not mistaken, Woodard's agent,
Check the
Kelly's
sign
agent,
language guy.
the Texas A&M, they're all the same agent. Like,
No,
you
they
realize
don't
if
have
I
the
would
same
be,
agent.
I don't know how many sports writers we got here today?
A lot.
Just you. We should have a bunch.
21.
Okay? Like, this is ridiculous. Lawyers would be disbarred for the way these agents act and the way they're able to represent. In fact, there's no doubt, they may even represent some of the players now.
Dude, listen, I know that Jimmy makes a lot of money, dude. I get it. Dude, Jimmy makes a lot of money. He makes more money than you do, and you're pissed off about it.
Trust
that
me
doesn't
when-
mean he's a bad agent.
Trust me when I tell you, as a long-suffering Notre Dame fan, Trace Armstrong represents Brian Kelly. They are not represented by the same agent. He's not wrong that I think coaching compensation is outrageous. I mean, the fact that they're paying Brian Kelly $800,000 a month not to coach at LSU. But this certainly cannot help make the LSU job more attractive. I mean, listen, I guess for certain people, it's a really attractive job.
Do you want to be the next LSU head coach?
Oh, I'd love to. You kidding me? I'm one phone call away. I just gotta get in my truck. I'll be back. I could be there today.
What?
I'm sure you would, dude. And so would your wannabe wife, girlfriend lady.
I want that job. I want to bring my girlfriend with me, boy.
I'm Ed O, and I'm a meathead.
Dude, he is salt of the earth. They're not, Ed. They're not hiring you. You can't tell me this helps the job. This is a bad look, and I'll play the bite again. I think this is a really bad look for LSU.
I can tell you right now, Scott Woodward is not selecting the next coach. Hell, I'll let Donald Trump select it before I let him do it. I don't know, but the Board of Supervisors is going to come up with a committee, and they're going to go find us a coach.
It is a really, really bad look for Scott Woodward to have the governor doing a press conference calling you incompetent, because he said some stuff that Jake cut out of that bite about how this is the same guy that paid, $76 million at Texas A&M. And like this was wild that Landry said this. But this, Jake, this can't be good for their coaching search.
I would want nothing to do with it. Honestly, I would want nothing to do with it if I was one of these top candidates. If I'm any of the guys that have been mentioned, Dan Lanning, Lane,
Yeah.
why the hell would you want to go there? Why would you want to, even talk to a guy like that? Why would you, what are we doing? Who thought it was a good idea to have the governor do a press conference where he's going to rip the AD and talk about our president? I just don't understand it. And I'm all here for ADs doing a bad job. We do that all the time on this show. But the idea that this guy thinks it's somehow a good plan, or that he's somehow holier than thou, dude, at some point you need to get back to governing the state instead of constantly worrying about these petty ass issues. And this is what our politicians do, man. They get involved in these non-issues because, with all due respect, we're not curing cancer here. We're not creating world peace. We're trying to hire a football coach for LSU. This is not rocket science, bro. And I'm here for, if you want to, if you wanted to do an interview where you said, hey, we're only willing to pay so much, and after our conversation yesterday, hey, Dan, if it's all about the money and backing up a Brinks truck, you're probably not a fit for us. Okay, cool. I'm even fine with that. But this is just so far over the top. And I haven't even spoke on the accent or whatever language he's speaking. I mean, dude, just get out of the way and let the people handle it who need to handle it. And if you don't like those people, replace them instead of ripping them publicly. That's why I think it's such a bad look.
Well, and now Jeff Landry put himself in the jackpot because he said that Charlie Kirk should have a statue at LSU. He said that. He released a statement and a video. And this has not been a good day for LSU. This has not been a good day for LSU. And mixing all this together, and you see the controversies that are reigning, I just cannot imagine this is a good thing.
So is LSU still the best job available after this? I mean, I think that's a real conversation if you're a candidate. If you're comparing LSU to Florida, dude.
I don't have any doubt it is. There is. Listen, he can run the Creole all he wants. That doesn't bother me at all. The problem here is what you're saying is you don't understand college football.
Yeah. And
you're not willing to spend the money it takes to win at the highest levels. And no, I do not think this makes LSU second in the job market. I don't think there's any doubt LSU's the best available job. It doesn't help, though. It really does not help. And I think now, having said that, if you're Scott Woodward, didn't you just get fired in a press conference that you weren't a part of?
Yes. You just caught a massive stray, dude. You're not even in the building, and dude is torching you publicly.
You absolutely caught a massive stray here. And I think it's ridiculous to me. I look at this and I say to myself, I don't know how society has gotten here. I just, yeah. Mama told Jeff Landry not to get a tattoo of Donald Trump, but what Mama doesn't know can't hurt her. I mean, he done told some Boudreaux and Tebow jokes, right? Amazing. Trump would hire Tuberville. That's probably true. That's probably
what is he going to hire?
True.
Herschel Walker?
My God. Scoop. Embracing Kirk is toxic, but why is the governor of a state that is unaffiliated with Charlie Kirk releasing a video on campus at LSU saying put a statue up, and the entire university revolted against your statement, sir?
What now? Let me tell you what now. Cajun traditional gibberish.
You're not that wrong.
Yeah.
Because Creole is tough to understand. He got that Cajun twang.
I mean, whatever we want to label it, it just would be nice if he, spoke normal English at a press conference.
I've got to go watch The Waterboy again to brush up on my whatever language
they're speaking. This is precisely what I'm talking about right here, bro.
So true. Toot says, Governor, I'm damn near sure that we's gonna get Dems des best coach that we's can find. Or something like that. I mean, it is ridiculous.
I can tell you right now, Scott Woodward is not selecting the next coach. Hell, I'll let Donald Trump select it before I let him do it. I don't know, but the Board of Supervisors is going to come up with a committee, and they're going to go find us a coach.
Sign language, dude. Wait. Watch what the sign language dude does when he says Trump.
I can tell you right now, Scott Woodward is not selecting the next coach. Hell, I'll let Donald Trump select it before I let him do it. I don't know, but the Board of Supervisors is going to come up with a committee, and they're going to go find us a coach.
Bro.
Right? I mean, come on. This is absolutely crazy to me.
I don't know, man. I'm very much on the fence about this.
This to me is just you trashing LSU. That's what I feel, honest to God. This feels like the governor of Louisiana had a press conference to tear down anything related to LSU and then released a video about Charlie Kirk's statue on a campus he's got no affiliation to. Like, what were you thinking? Was this destroy LSU Day in the State House of Louisiana? I mean, I don't know. I do not believe this impacts coaches making decisions.
Oh, come on. How does this not impact them at all?
You really think that Lane Kiffin's like, yeah, can't take the LSU job now?
I mean, it's not can't take it, but definitely am not jumping for joy over it after this.
Well, no, but it is LSU.
I mean, my God, you know, they're going to pay you a lot of money, I'm sure. But, dude, the moment you don't have success, are you not already out looking for another job? Like, I mean, that's what this says.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look. Yeah, this is exactly right. Probably smart with the last two coaches this AD hired.
Yeah, and again, I'm all here for the AD's ass. I have no problem with that. But let's not do it in front of the whole world. How about that? Like, let's not like this dude's out here talking about, you know, on his high horse and this and that and his gibberish and his, you know, on another planet accent. Like, dude, you're out here putting on a show and making a scene when all you could have done.
Really off put by this.
I am, because think about what it takes to get here, dude. You said, yeah, you know what? We're gonna have a press conference. I am so pissed about this Brian Kelly situation because that's the origin. He's upset about how much money Brian Kelly's buyout is. That's what he's pissed about.
$800 grand a month.
53 mil. So he's and again, I don't blame him for that. I'd be pissed too. But ultimately, it's how you handle it, because just the same way that people with the pedo state firing of James Franklin had questions about, hey, if you're willing to fire him in the middle of the season, what does that mean for the next head coach? Dude, if the governor's directly involved with the hiring of the coach at LSU, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just not a huge fan of that, bro. Like, I'm not even saying just from an X's and O's football program level standpoint, it's not the best job. It is. But I'm just simply saying the politics and the noise and the drama and the baggage, this LSU in that athletic department did not need this. And Nike money is not saving you from the governor being an asshole at a press conference.
No, what you needed was some offensive line help, right? That's what you needed. Because the amazing thing is, they won the portal of the offseason. This is how bad Brian Kelly's performance was this year. I don't think anybody would argue LSU probably had the best portal, but they did not address offensive line at all. And it absolutely crippled their offense. And their defense wasn't good either. But
right.
Like, it just feels like this is the stuff where it's more about the recruit than it is about hiring a coach. I think this is a mountain for the coach to overcome. I think when you do the whole put a statue of Charlie Kirk on the campus, I think that's going to immediately turn some people off. It's toxic. It's a tough conversation no matter what side of the line you're on. I just don't know why you did that. And then you held a press conference to tell the world how stupid everybody at LSU is.
Because it's garbage.
It felt like an insult factory. That's what this whole thing felt like. And if you haven't seen it, go watch the entire presser, you guys. The rant he did about how bad this guy is, the AD's done hiring coaches, and you know what, like Scott Woodward is not hiring the next coach. This guy, the last two, like just goes in on Scott Woodward. Like, if you're Woodward, did you just go find a box to pack your stuff? Isn't that what you,
We're out here.
I mean, I don't even know what you say about this.
I can tell you right now, Scott Woodward is not selecting the next coach. Hell, I'll let Donald Trump select it before I let him do it.
Like, that is unbelievable. Unbelievable that he is not selecting the next coach.
There is no way.
It's
Like,
crazy.
Jesus.
I can tell you right now, Scott Woodward is not selecting the next coach. Hell, I'll let Donald Trump select it before I let him do it.
That is unbelievable. It certainly doesn't help, but I don't think this hurts. But my God.
Yeah, I just,
Right?
I think at a minimum, I don't think we can say it doesn't hurt. I think what we should say is we don't know if it hurts or not, because I think depending, like, does it hurt them? Well, I don't know. Who are you asking? I mean, if you're asking at, it doesn't hurt him, right? He just told us that the guy's desperate to get back in the college football world. But if you're trying to get Lane or Dan or Drinkwitz,
It's the Lane train, please.
yeah, if you're trying to get the Lanimal,
The Lanimal. Don't let it hit your vocal cords when it's down there, okay? Like, the Lanimal.
Might have been overstating the case a little bit.
The Lanimal.
right off the top of the dome, dude. Some of my best material right there, dude. Come on.
Listen, and such as
in
US
like
American,
they don't have maps in Eugene and stuff.
like the Lanimal. How devastated are you going to be when he misses the college football playoff? How devastated are you going to be? Are you going to have to like swaddle yourself to sleep or something? Like,
Probably, yeah. I mean, honestly, it's gonna be rough, dude.
you're such a slurper. Like that, you said Lanimal.
Sucking a ding dong.
Scoop says corruption in Louisiana is at the next level. Could be. They need Jerry Glanville. They do. Lane plus Lanimal.
Yeah.
So Lane Kiffin.
My bad. Sorry, guys.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Lane train.
Right. Lane train.
Right. Like, I just and not to mention, are you really this? And I understand why the governor is talking about this, because it's $50 million.
A lot of money.
And who pays Brian Kelly the $50 million? Well, the state. But I also think it's important to mention that they have a donor who is going to pay it. So it's not like, it's still a lot of money. It is still a lot of money, and he makes $800,000 a month.
Damn.
I'm amazed by that. And obviously they're going to try and negotiate that down. But speaking of, I think it's really interesting here, by the way, on this thing with Arkansas. Speaking of about to pay a huge buyout, they're chasing the Lanimal and the Lincoln. I don't have an animal.
Riley-nator.
They're supposedly pursuing Dan Lanning and Lincoln Riley at Arkansas, and they are prepared to spend the money required, which would be the head coach, the coaching staff, and talent. Because Arkansas has historically been diamond cutters when it comes to putting money out. And Jera obviously changes that. He's a billionaire. But it is said that they are chasing Dan Lanning and Lincoln Riley as their two top candidates at Arkansas. And that Bobby Petrino is unlikely to return. They want new, bigger, and better. Where would you rate the Arkansas job amongst the great unwashed of college football openings?
I mean, it's obviously towards the bottom. I mean, I just think it's been
obviously towards the bottom.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, I think
Really?
that there. Yeah, well, one, do you actually trust Jerry Jones to do what he says he's going to do? One, because of his mismanagement of the Cowboys. I don't know that I would trust Jerry Jones to do anything business related football wise. Two, I think they've never won in the CFP era. They've never even been relevant in the CFP era. So that's two. And three, it's the SEC. So, you're in the SEC, but you're also competing with, with all the other teams in the SEC for talent. And so if a kid can go to Arkansas, you can't tell me he's not capable, talent-wise, of going to other mid to upper tier schools. And that's where I say, like, if you get Lincoln in there, or if you were to get Dan, obviously they're really good recruiters. That goes without saying. But, it's a hell of a lot easier to get a kid to go to LA than it is to get a kid to go there.
Well, I would remind you, he got some pretty good kids to go to Norman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Lincoln did.
Yeah, he did.
You would agree with that?
No doubt. I would agree with that. Absolutely. He got a lot of talent to Lincoln. So I don't know, man. I think that there's no way it can be classified as a top job. Is it a good opportunity? Yes, but it's certainly not a top job.
I think I look at, if I'm making a list of this, and I look at the open jobs, LSU 1, Florida 2. And then I have to, like, okay, let's do it backwards. Where is James Franklin about the best candidate at? I think he's probably the best candidate at any of the second tier jobs. Because the thing I think that we quickly lose perspective on in these conversations is, and this is hard for me to say out loud, James Franklin and Brian Kelly, fired coaches. Those are two really good coaches. They've won a lot of games. Now, are they going to take you to a national championship? Probably not. But if you're UCLA, would you hire Brian Kelly or James Franklin? Yes. I think you would gleefully hire either one of those gentlemen to coach your football program. That would be a massive step up. Yeah. Would you agree with that at UCLA?
I would. Yep.
Would you agree that Stanford would gleefully hire Brian Kelly?
Yeah, I would. Absolutely.
I don't believe they would hire James Franklin with the issues in his background. I don't believe they would.
Yeah.
If you're Arkansas, if you are Virginia Tech, if you are, I mean,
those
neither
two
one
certainly would.
Oak State has no access to Brian Kelly or James Franklin.
No,
I don't believe they do. But I think certainly Virginia Tech, Arkansas, and UCLA all have access to James Franklin and Brian Kelly. And I think Brian Kelly wants to take a year off. I think James Franklin wants to be coaching already. And if James Franklin can get to an SEC program, or if he can get hired in the Big Ten, I think he would take it right now.
Right.
I think he would take it right now. Certainly. And I think the little carousel, because I am going to continue to tell you this, and I know I read in the comments section on JitHub every day, you're the only one who's espousing the greatness of Eli Drinkwitz. Okay, I'll be the only one. What do you want to wager that Eli gets a job this cycle? What do you want to wager that he may well be the league candidate wherever Lane Kiffin doesn't take the job, because Lane will get an offer at Florida and he will get an offer at LSU. And I think the other one is going to have to really take a serious look at hiring Eli Drinkwitz. How do you not, based on what he's done at Missouri?
Right. Yeah, you have to. You have to. I mean, and
Right?
his age, and
His recruiting,
his talent,
his
ability.
portaling, his putting guys in the NFL, his quarterback development, the attendance, the NIL money. It's Missouri. When have they ever been relevant? Right now. Right now. And I feel very, very strongly, based on the people that I'm talking to, Eli Drinkwitz is going to get a job. And again, I'm happy to be the only one, as I usually am, telling you this shit, but he's getting a job. And I truly think, because it does not appear, and maybe I'm underselling lead, it does not appear that Dan Lanning wants to leave Oregon this year. I think Dan Lanning wants to win another. If this job had come open last year, he would be at LSU right now. I think Dan Lanning wants to win another Big Ten championship at a minimum before he leaves Oregon. I think he feels like they have been, or at least I can't say I think. I was told that Dan Lanning feels a sense of responsibility to leave the program on a very high note. And he feels like they have not done their best work at Oregon this year, which I think we all agree with.
Mm-hmm.
When you get your ass beat like that. Now, if they go on to win the Big Ten championship, which could very well happen, beating Dan Lanning twice in the same season, Washington, is unheard of. I think there's a real chance for Dan Lanning to take a much larger job were he to win the Big Ten again this year. I don't know that happens, but I think Dan Lanning feels a sense of responsibility.
Yeah, well, I mean, after the ass kicking in the CFP, I mean, I can kind of understand why you would want to try to run it back before you leave that post.
Yeah, I feel like them winning the conference last year was the high water mark. I feel like that they have stepped back from that level. And I think the hard part is next year, the jobs are not going to be nearly as good as this year. Projecting, right? Because if you project, you're going to have probably 4 SEC jobs open this year. At a minimum, LSU and Florida, Ole Miss, and Missouri. Those 4 jobs are probably open. And I think almost certainly are open. And then you throw in Arkansas. That's a minimum of 5. And I'm assuming Eli takes a job, and I'm assuming that Lane Kiffin takes a job. That's 5 universities right there that potentially could be open. So if you're supposedly the elite young, currently a head coach, because that's how Dan Lanning's viewed, I can tell you that right now. Most people believe Dan Lanning's the best young head coach in college football. I think that's a huge job. And then you throw on top of that, how many jobs in the Big 12 are going to be open? Well, I think certainly Oak State's open already. Dan Lanning's not ever going to even take a phone call from them. He's not taking a phone call from Baylor. Right? Utah's going to have a change, I think, but it's not going to be open because Morgan Scalley is there already.
Yeah, not this cycle.
I mean, you're looking at 4 or 5 jobs at a minimum in this conference because there's a lot of smoke around TCU. The folks in Fort Worth are severely disappointed. And I think that there's a real chance. I think Iowa State could be open. I think Kansas could be open. I think there's going to be a lot of movement in the Big 12. And then you look at the ACC. I think there's going to be some pretty significant movement in the ACC as well. And I think it'll be interesting to see Georgia Tech, if he takes a job, Vandy, if he takes a job.
Yeah.
Because I think Mike Norvell's a dead man walking.
Good as gone.
Yeah. And you're probably going to lose to Wake. Right? Like, is Georgia Tech a better job than, think of the lower level jobs in the Big Ten that could be open? Right? If Nebraska's open because Matt Rule goes to Pedo State.
Yes, you're taking Nebraska.
Who's taking Nebraska?
Anybody? Well, you were asking if it's a better job than Georgia Tech. I would take Nebraska.
I don't know about that. Does Nebraska have real opportunity to go to the college football playoff? Doesn't feel like that. And if Matt Rule goes knuckle deep, they're going to be a better football program. Right? What if Lincoln Riley leaves USC? That's immediately the best job in America. But Lane Kiffin's not taking the USC job. Right? He's not. Like the domino effect by all of this upheaval, if you will. I mean, you look at the Big 12, I think there will be 6 openings. You look at the ACC, I think there will be 7 openings. Because I think NC State, potentially Georgia Tech, Va-Tech, like there's going to be some open jobs. North Carolina with Bill Belichick. There's going to be 20 jobs, P4 jobs open. Loosely. And we're just sitting here spitballing.
Yeah.
Like you start to look at the domino effect of these jobs. And you like, I had a fascinating argument with a buddy of mine today that works in pro sports about whether Nebraska is a better job than UCLA. Because I think it's a foregone conclusion. UCLA is going to dump $1 billion into football. They are going to dump $1 billion into football assets. And if they do that, bro, can you imagine UCLA hiring James Franklin and giving him $1 billion?
Brian Kelly.
There's some question about whether Brian Kelly wants to coach right now. And I think that's a very interesting question. I don't know the answer to that question. I truly do not know the answer to that question. I'm not convinced Brian Kelly wants to compete right now. I'm really not. And I don't know what you guys think, the 4,000 people watching the show right now. I don't know what you guys think of that. I am not convinced that Brian Kelly wants to coach. Because if what jobs will be open in the Big Ten? So as you hit the like button here on YouTube, and if you're watching on the X platform, we really appreciate everybody's support on X. Come on over to YouTube. Get the link in my bio, The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show. You can find Jake on Twitter, SLC Jake. Are you going to change your handle now to Duck Douche or
Duck Douche?
Maybe
I'll change it to the Lanimal. What do you guys think?
Why don't you change it to the Lanning Slurp?
Right. The Lanning Slurper.
I'm going to guess that's open. Anyway, come on over to YouTube, The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show on YouTube. Give us a subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. We're just short of 183,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Would love to get to 200,000 by the end of the year. But legitimately ask yourself, what jobs in the Big Ten are going to be open? If I said Penn State's open already, UCLA's open already, Wisconsin with Luke Fickell. Wisconsin's probably making a change there. Shockingly, he did not work out. So I have to think Wisconsin's going to be open. Michigan State certainly is going to be open. Right? I feel like, obviously, Northwestern, although didn't they hire their interim full-time? What about Minnesota with Fluck? I mean, you're in another season where you're 5-3 and 3-2. Do you feel like that's successful?
At Minnesota? I mean, it's not terrible.
What about Iowa? 6-2 and 4-1, but can't win a championship or compete for a college football playoff spot.
I wouldn't be firing him.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying, if you're not a Dude, if you're not like we can't just ignore the fact that we're talking about Iowa. We're not talking about Ohio State. Like these programs like Arkansas, Va Tech, Georgia Tech. Like they want to say, "Oh, we want to win natties. We want to do all this stuff." But if you wanted to do that, wouldn't you have been doing it already? Wouldn't you have been investing already? Wouldn't you have already gone out and got a marquee name already? Like that's my problem. Like we have two different dynamics at play. We've got head coaches that may or may not be a fit for some of these jobs, but then we have good jobs and jobs that are not good. Like we've got, like if you go to Iowa, like Dan Lanny's not going to Iowa. Lane, anybody, any
He's
serious
not going to
candidates not.
I don't think
Yeah.
Northwestern will make a change. I don't think that's true. But that's 6 jobs, you guys. Right there, that's 6 jobs in the Big Ten.
And is it not interesting to anybody else that everybody and their mom is now willing to spend like a ton of money on football when we were all crying poor 6 months ago over the house settlement?
But you have to spend because of the house settlement. I told you guys, it's $1 billion a year at Ohio State. At Michigan's not spending that right now, but they will. It's $1 billion a year at every major program. That's how much money, and that's not what you're spending. That's the money running through your program. That's how much money is running through your program every year. And I think, no, Steve Sarkisian has at least 2 more years. At their Texas is a dominant program. Steve Sarkisian's not getting fired. He could not win another game this year, and I don't think he's getting fired.
No.
That would be, I don't even know the justification. You're talking about a guy who's 6-2. And what does he have left? He's got Vandy. I think they're 6-2. I know he's got Vandy, Georgia, and A&M left. And I think he's 6-2. I mean, he's
Why
not.
are you firing Sark? Like,
Dude, that's one of those moves that just doesn't make any sense. Brett Bielema, I think, is fine at Illinois. They haven't been relevant. They're relevant now. We'll see. We'll see. Scott, bro, how big is this game for K-State? This is a huge game for K-State. Right? Like, am I the only one who feels like
it's time to make a change?
Yeah, is this not the worst season that K-State has had? And you're, what are you, 4-4? You're a 500 football team? And you've got Texas Tech, Oak State, Utah, and Colorado left. You're probably going to be 6-6, if I had to guess. But this game this weekend is the entire kit and caboodle.
And look at the losses, too, because I also think this is a great way to judge a head coach and a staff. I mean, Iowa State, you lose 24-21. Army, 24-21. Arizona, 23-17. Baylor, 35-34. Like, you're losing one possession games regularly. Like, that's
close late game situations. And a lot of that is your quarterback. I know. I don't know anything about quarterbacks, Monty. A lot of that is your quarterback. And I think it's incredibly important that people start to recognize that K-State's at the ceiling of Avery Johnson. I mean, he is going to be what he is now. Unless you've done such a crappy job developing him, which I don't think is the case. Chris Kleiman could coach. I don't think that's the case. But you're in a situation where you've done such a crappy job developing him, or he's at his ceiling. I think he's at his ceiling. I don't know where else you go.
Yeah, I agree.
Syracuse, if their coach gets stolen, yes. I would agree with that. I suppose Kirk Ferentz at age 70 is about ready to retire from Iowa. They should have fired him. Right? I don't know. All of this to go back to the Dan Lanning conversation about how he feels like he he has unfinished business, I guess is the way to put it, at Oregon. And
which I agree with.
in what sense do you agree with it?
I agree. You listen, right now, Dan Lanning is a guy who wins a lot in the regular season and hasn't proven the ability to win in the CFP. That's the truth of it. And I'm a big believer when you're talking about that upper echelon, that top cut of coaches, to be in the top cut of coaches, you got to win in the CFP regularly. And I think that like James Franklin is a good case study of this, winning, being relevant in the Big Ten, maybe not able to beat Ohio State and Michigan regularly, but always in the conversation for the CFP, just never able to get over the hump. And Dan is a guy who did last year was basically a perfect season, right? 13-0, ran the conference, everything you could ever want out of a regular season campaign. And then you get to that playoff game and you had the week off and you just didn't perform. And so now, there's all these openings and you're an SEC guy off of the Nick Saban tree and everybody is hot to trot over you. And the problem is you're very passionate. We know this. This is not my opinion. Dan has said this, that he's very passionate about his legacy, takes it very seriously. Hey, if I'm going to coach somewhere, I want to make sure.
But if that's the case, and this was the point, if you missed the show yesterday, go back. We talked all about this. This is my point about Oregon. Oregon is not the place you stay to build your legacy. Especially when your biggest argument, at least from the fan base, is, well, we've got Nike money. Everybody's got Nike money and more.
But what does it say about Dan if he has been there? Because what is this? His fourth year there, I think it is now. It's third or fourth season there. What does it say about Dan that you were able to dominate in the regular season? You have put a quarterback in the league, as well as other guys, obviously. And, you just weren't able to get over the hump. So now let's say you go to LSU, just as an example, and you're basically the same guy. You're never able to get to a national championship. And that's the hard part is right now, just like if I'm comparing Dan as a coach to some of these other candidates, I would rather have Dan than Marcus Freeman, just stylistically speaking. I prefer Dan Lanning's style over Marcus Freeman. The problem with that is Marcus has been to a national championship game. Marcus has been further. Marcus has, obviously it's been well documented on the program that Marcus has his shortcomings, as we always joke about. And, there are a lot of times where you really hate the things that he does, and that's totally understandable. But the reality is he beat more teams when it mattered most. And so I can say that about Sark. I can say that about James Franklin. Right. I mean, Franklin's at least been there more regularly. So it's just difficult because I don't disagree that it's if you care about your legacy, you're going to go back to the SEC and you're going to enshrine yourself there. Essentially,
you're going to go to the biggest program you can get.
But you can't. I also don't disagree, though. At the same time, it's not the best look to go leave a program where you're 4 years in and you haven't really done anything. You built it up, but you haven't won. I don't know as a dude how you're supposed to feel about it.
If he leaves there, if they go, if they go, what would that be? 11-1.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think Dan Lanning's he's won 42 games. This is his fourth year, and we were looking at this yesterday.
I think he's 42-6, I think.
And he is somebody that if he wins the rest of the year and then takes the job at LSU, are you telling me that's a strike against him?
42-7.
So if he's 42-7 now, and you add 4 more wins to that, if he's 46-7 and he gets the LSU job, are you telling me that that's a knock against him?
I don't think it's a knock against him.
Let's say he wins the 4 more games remaining. Let's say he doesn't play for a Big Ten championship. He wins a playoff game.
Yeah.
So you're 47 and 8.
Yeah.
When you leave Oregon.
With a CFP win.
How is that a knock against him?
Well, at that point, it wouldn't be a knock against him. But that's the point, is that he doesn't have a CFP win yet at Oregon. He's got a bunch of wins in the regular season in the Big Ten. And you know, I get it. I understand what he's saying. I don't disagree. Also, though, with your sentiment that, hey, LSU's calling and that job's open once every however long. It's not like that's constantly open. So if you're going to turn down LSU and then Florida gets filled, and okay, well, when's the next time an LSU level job, a Florida level job is going to be available in the SEC? Because I have to think that DeBoer's got at least
a couple of jobs there.
But look at the landscape, though. Like, so DeBoer's probably got at least 3 more years after what he's done this year, right? Unless he just falls off the wagon and they're just awful and they just take some crazy downturn, he's got to have at least 3 more seasons, in my opinion. Kirby is certainly not going anywhere. He's about as concrete as it's going to get, right? And then you're going to look, okay, Ole Miss, I guess, if Lane leaves, I guess.
Look at the jobs in the SEC. Alabama, Georgia, LSU. Those are the 3 best jobs in the country every time they're open. And that's not very often. LSU more so than others. Right? Now, you want to talk about Florida? Florida's got multiple national championships in the modern era with multiple different coaches. So does LSU. Alabama does not. Georgia does not.
What do you mean?
What?
What do you mean? Like, you're saying they don't have national championships with multiple different coaches?
Correct. So,
Okay.
And why that matters is because at LSU, they've kind of proven, whether it's Les Miles, Ed Ogeron, Nick Saban, you go there, you do the job, you're going to win a national championship. Right? You go to Florida, I think they've proven, even though they fired their last 4 coaches, you go there, you do the job, you're going to win a national championship.
Yeah.
At Alabama, you compete for a national championship every year under Nick Saban. At Georgia, you compete for a national championship every year under Kirby Smart. But my point is, those 3 jobs are the best jobs in America. And I look at Dan Lanning. He should be hired for every one of those jobs. And anytime you're offered LSU, Alabama, or Georgia, that is a job that you don't say no to. Yet he said no to Alabama already, and now he's about to say no to LSU. And you're in a position, and again, you guys lost your ever-loving shit in Eugene last night in the comments section. Oregon's not the place you go for the rest of your life.
That I agree with.
Alabama's the job you take for the rest of your career. Georgia's the job you take for the rest of your career. LSU's the job. That's a tough job. Listen to the governor's press conference today. But LSU should be a job you take for the rest of your career. Because where did Les Miles go? Nowhere. Where's Ed Ogeron? Nowhere. Where'd Nick Saban go? Everywhere. So my point is, they're big jobs, they're tough jobs, but you do the job and you're going to win a national championship. You can't say that at Oregon. And I love Oregon. I'm a huge Phil Knight guy. I believe in Oregon football. But I want to win national championships. And as I said yesterday, and I haven't found anybody inside of college football who disagrees with me. Oregon's the stepping stone. You can change that to the proving ground. Prove you do the job well here, you'll get hired somewhere else. Chip Kelly's a great example of that.
And I'd also like to point out, because I think people forget this, Dan's path, which proves the Oregon's a stepping stone point. So Dan obviously was on staff with Kirby at Alabama under Saban back in the day, right? Those 2 guys worked together along with there's a whole slew of guys throughout college football, obviously. But the point is that when did Kirby take the Georgia job? Oh, he took the Georgia job in 2016, right? When did Well, when did Dan get to Georgia? Well, that's right. Dan got to Georgia in 2018. So Kirby Smart helped make Dan Lanning.
Yes.
And Dan Lanning then leaves for Oregon in 22.
And all of these guys are Saban guys.
Yeah, but
Lane
my point is
Kiffin,
that if you're Dan, you are the younger, you're the next cut. Kirby is
Kirby's
many.
the now.
Kirby's the now. Dan's the next guy in the SEC.
Dan Lanning,
Lane.
I think Lane's the now too. Lane's not. Lane's not young anymore. Eli Drinkwitz would be one of the next guys. I think Dan Lanning's a superstar. And if you're going to turn down Bama and LSU, how many times is the phone going to ring for you?
Plenty, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I think when you keep saying no to the biggest jobs in the country, I don't think that's the one. I don't think that's not what I would be. That's not what I would be doing. But look, that's my opinion. Monty lost his shit because he knows Lanning's not leaving. I don't think Lanning's not leaving. And what does Jed Fish have to do with anything?
Yeah, I don't know what Jed's got to do with
I'm not
anything.
sure what that's a reference to. I don't think that Lanning's not leaving. I think that it's up in the air. I think Dan Lanning has a sense of accomplishment to fulfill at Oregon. He will win his next 4 games. And we'll see what's going on with Dante's health, and do they tackle in the secondary? Their yards after catch defensively are fucking brutal. And as we talked about, they don't rush the quarterback, but I think they'll win their next 4 games. Dude that abides, Iowa's the job you take for the rest of your career. Well, if your last name is Ferentz.
Yeah, I'm not taking Iowa for the rest of my career.
You have to add Texas to that list of unbelievable jobs. Well, you certainly get everything you need there. Sark's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. The stadium guy, Dana. If I were a coach and I was at Oregon, I would stay put. Okay, why? Dan Lanning will keep his job forever as long as he wins 9-10 games a year. But again, nobody's trying to win 9-10 games.
I was
going to
say that would then be an indictment on Dan Lanning.
That
if
would
he
be
only
an
wanted to win
indictment.
9 or 10.
That'd be an indictment on Oregon. You better strap your boots in, or in this case, your butt buzzer. Brian Kelly wins a lot of games. James Franklin wins a lot of games. I'm just going to keep running this back. That Brian Kelly, for everything he's not, which is a national championship coach. Do you guys understand that Brian Kelly, over his entire coaching career, Brian Kelly has never had a losing record when he left a school. Grand Valley State 118-35. Central Michigan 19-16. Cincinnati 34-6. Notre Dame 92-39. LSU, he's 34-13. 34-14. 10 of the 14 losses are in conference. And I'll break the news to you, James. Here's his win total by year at LSU: 10-10, 9-5. He got fired after winning 29 games in 3 seasons, and it wasn't enough. Nobody wants to win 9 or 10 games because that doesn't usually get you into the college football playoff. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to say that. Oregon wants a ring badly. That's why he hired a guy who's been under Saban and Smart, right? But he's right now, if we're being brutally honest, is Dan Lanning close to a championship at Oregon?
Not this year.
Was he closer last year than this year?
Yes.
Now, the month off going between the conference championship and the, 3 weeks off, probably kicked him right in the balls. But candies and nuts, right? We can make excuses. He lost. And he has not been back to that level. So I don't think you can say that I think they want a national championship. He's not close to it right now. And I think it's awfully difficult. Again, I think it's very difficult to recruit the top talent in college football in the portal to Eugene, Oregon. I think that's very difficult. UT is not the be-all, end-all of college football. It's one of them.
It's certainly one of them.
Texas is open. Everybody wants the job.
Yeah.
Tuscaloosa, that cool. Never thought Alabama was cool. Eugene must be rough. But it's Alabama. Nobody thinks Tuscaloosa. They think Alabama. Nobody thinks Tuscaloosa. They think Bryant Denny. Nobody thinks Tuscaloosa. They think Nick Saban. When you say Oregon, and you're talking to Rodney, the wide receiver in Coral Gables, who runs a 4.3, 4.2.
Mm-hmm.
He's never seen a tree that size in his life. You're going to have a tough time convincing him to go play at Autzen over Bryant Denny.
Yeah.
You think the name Nick Saban doesn't mean anything to a high school junior? I think it does. I
love how people just assume that Nick Saban's not like around the Bama program, or that he would not, he somehow is not.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
We have lost Jake. There he is. Jake, your internet sucks, bro. You're having some internet issues, my guy. Because Monty is becoming a Husky fan? No, I am not a Washington Husky fan on any level. I am a Notre Dame fan. I am a Notre Dame fan. Singularly, I am a Notre Dame fan. I am not a Washington Husky fan. I have no idea where you got that. Which coach makes a move to the NFL, creating openings? See, there is this conversation. It's interesting you bring this up. There's this conversation about who's getting jobs. Coordinators at college don't get jobs in the NFL. And the funny thing is, head coaches in college football are ones getting the best jobs. Coordinators are getting the second and third tier jobs and the G5 jobs. And in the NFL, look at who's getting fired. Are the longtime head coaches getting fired? Are the mediocre Sean McDermott in Buffalo when they fail again this year because they won't trade for a wide receiver? Do you understand this is the entirety of their season this weekend? I mean, you guys understand that, right? There is one game in the NFL that matters this weekend. And I think it is incredibly important. It is at Highmark. It is the Chiefs and the Bills. That's the game of the century right now. Because I'm telling, what is Monday Night Football? Isn't it Arizona and Dallas? Who gives a flying flip?
Couldn't be more irrelevant, dude.
Right? I mean, it is, and I should pull it up before I say it, but
it is Arizona and Dallas.
Yeah, it is the game of the year. Sean McDermott loses that game. Does he lose his job? Probably not. What do you have to do to get fired in the NFL midseason? I don't know. Ask the Dolphins. Oh, wait, they didn't fire their guy either.
Which is just incredible.
College football is a completely different beast. You're paying Brian Kelly $800 not to coach your football team. And that's now the new normal. At every level, I'm going to pay you a lot of money. Get them out. Trent Dilfer. Get them out, James Franklin. And these guys all win a lot of games. Well, Trent Dilfer sucks. But these guys all win a lot of games, right? Kurt Signetti doing right by Indiana. Love that. We'll see. We'll see. Tuscaloosa isn't cool. Honestly, it's not much of anything, but it has Roll Tide, they win, and that hides a lot. It's all that matters. It's Mayberry, dude, with a huge fucking football stadium where they play important games. It's okay if we disagree with the Montnator. It's okay to have differing opinions.
Okay.
Like Terminator, but funnier.
Okay.
I have no idea.
You've lost all credibility, dude.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay. You know, it is interesting to me. It is really interesting to me. The teams that don't fire their coaches. Like you look at who are routinely shitty programs. Like Minnesota, Michigan. Great point. Michigan sucks. Michigan can't win national championships. They don't win national championships. It's not a marquee job, right? Michigan or LSU. You're taking LSU every single day.
Yeah.
Right? Especially with Jabba the Manual there. It doesn't even matter. Right? It's wild to me. The bad jobs, like Michigan hiring Sharon Moore. Look what's happening. You're an average ass program.
You're going the wrong way.
You are. Michigan's going the wrong way. And you just admitted that everything you were accused of was actually what happened. There you go. Fish is a name being mentioned at Florida if Lane says no. He's got ties to the program.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly don't think that Jed Fish is somehow married to Washington. I mean, I think that's pretty easy to understand.
I'm telling you right now, Florida is a great job. They are a great job. If the Gators, they have money, they've got donors, they've got talent. Now, it's ultra competitive, and I think this is a huge advantage for LSU that nobody ever talks about. Who does LSU compete against for the best talent in their region? Nobody. When you're a kid growing up playing football within 100 miles of LSU, where do you dream of going to school? LSU.
Not Oregon?
Well, let me ask you this. If you're a kid that's growing up in Vero Beach, Florida, where do you dream of going to school? If you're a kid that's growing up in Orange County, California, where do you dream of going to school? Don't know. Could be USC, could be UCLA, could be any number of schools. When you grow up playing football in just about any parish in Louisiana, you want the tiger on your helmet. You want to play at LSU. They compete with nobody. You go down to Florida, they got to compete with Florida, Florida State, Miami, the entirety of the SEC, the entirety of the rest of the country. Most kids in Louisiana, if you're an elite prospect, what is the only thing that Brian Kelly did well at LSU? Kept every in-state never lost a 5-star recruit, because you don't lose 5-star recruits in Louisiana. You don't. He brought in talent. He just didn't coach very well, and he's an asshole. Right? So they're going to get a guy that's dynamic. They're going to get a guy, and Dan Lanning is excellent at this. Dan Lanning, let's talk about injuries, because this has been a big Brian Kelly talking point. Brian Kelly allegedly doesn't call kids after they get hurt and they're out for the year. Brian Kelly allegedly never had a one-on-one with his starting center for the last 3 years. Never sat on his couch. Never had him over to the house. Do you guys know that Dan Lanning calls all of his players on a regular basis? just picks up a phone. We'll fucking call them. Who calls people anymore? Dan Lanning. Do you know that when Dan Lanning has a player who's injured, and almost it doesn't matter, the guy tweaked a taint, Dan Lanning's going to knock on your room. He's going to show up at your apartment, your off-campus house. And trust me when I say his kids love playing for Dan Lanning because he cares about you.
Which gets the player to buy in.
He cares about you. Lane Kiffin, after post Nick Saban, because Nick Saban is legendary. Lane Kiffin, if he has a kid out for the year, do you know that he brings that kid into the program and has him watching film, has him help coaching positions, like keeps him around the program? Lane Kiffin is that's what makes him such a good recruiter. Because you know it's Deion Sanders, who's probably the best in the country at this. Deion Sanders doesn't care about your football career. He cares about your life. And who did he learn that from? Who does he credit with that? Nick Saban. That's what's so special about these coaches, this handful of coaches that are candidates for every major job. They care about their kids. It's not a cliche. Family. It's not a cliche. They're going to put their arm around you. And you look at Brian Kelly, did you see that fight him and Garrett Nussmeier had? And I actually didn't have a problem with it. Who didn't go to the announcement when Brian Kelly got fired? Who didn't go to the last team meeting with Brian Kelly when he announced to the team that he had been let go? Garrett Nussmeier did not attend the meeting. Showed up an hour after Brian Kelly left. That's the kind of relationship that Brian Kelly allegedly had with his guys at LSU.
How?
Lane
And then
Kiffin,
you wonder why you got fired in the middle of the year.
Lane Kiffin leaves Alabama. And his kids were legitimately upset about it. Right? You look at, even at USC, when Sark left USC, his kids were devastated. Nobody is shedding tears over Brian Kelly because Brian Kelly was at the airport. Did you guys see that video of him at the airport where he's at the airport hopping on a private jet, leaving Louisiana? Family. He was never home. He was never home. It is what it is, man.
That's the problem, though, is that like the family thing is such a great joke, right? But
yeah,
that's why it's such a problem, because it's scheming, it's rolling out a fake ass accent so that people will like you, as if that's going to get them to like you, right? Like, oh, I'm going to talk a certain way so that somehow I can fit in, even though the day before I rolled out with family. I was doing a news interview where my Boston accent clearly was present. And that's what I have an issue with, dude. And that's why I completely agree that your reputation precedes you, Brian. Like, your inability to care about people or to again, it's this word that we always hear, right? We heard it a lot in the Harbaugh situation. We've heard it a lot over the years. This word of fostering an environment.
Yes.
If you don't know how to foster a, family-oriented environment, an environment where, yeah, you know what? Like, dude just blew his ankle up and is out for the year, but, we're going to console him and make sure he stays in the program. And, we're going to continue to develop him mentally. Physically, not so much. He's going to have to wait 8 weeks. But mentally, there's no reason why we can't develop this kid. Like, that's just unbelievable to me in a time when, you've got the governor of Louisiana today talking about how garbage your AD is, based on the decisions he's made. Like, this is getting to a point where you can't afford to not cultivate those kind of relationships. And if you're going to continue to do that, you're going to continue to get fired and continue to be a guy that's a 3-year guy. right? You're at a program 3 years. All right, we'll see you later. Like, that's who
If
he is
you
now.
if you could hire any of these coaches, who would you hire?
I'd probably hire Lane Kiffin. Honestly, I'd probably hire Lane Kiffin. I think Lane. The difference is Lane is already in the environment in the SEC. There isn't a learning curve. There is no, hey, I'm coming from the PNW down to the SEC, and like never been to SEC media days as a head coach, or like you don't have to deal with any of that, right? Lane's already doing all that. He's already in the process.
You're Lane Kiffin, Florida or LSU?
I would probably take Florida only because I think that Lane Kiffin, I agree with the people saying Lane Kiffin has major Spurrier vibes about him. And I think that Lane Kiffin, I don't care how physically old he is, he plays young. And Florida is desperately in need of a guy who is competent, has the swag, is also trending younger, to take over that and just dominate that program for like 10 years. And I just think that Lane and Florida to me is a match made in heaven. If he went to LSU, I'm not complaining, but him in Florida just to me seems like a match made in heaven.
I think LSU is a really good job. Florida's not a bad job, but it's fucking LSU. Like you win at LSU. I'm telling you, and maybe Jake, we need a roadie. I don't know. Home games at night in Death Valley. You'll never root for another college football team. You go to one, and I don't know if any LSU fans are here or not, but you go to one game at Death Valley at night, and it literally, that atmosphere just gets in your ass. You can't, it changes you. You're sucking brains out of a crawdad, and you're like, damn, this is good. It's not. It's terrible. But you're just in it, dude. I think LSU is the world. But if I'm Lane Kiffin, I'm taking the Florida job. And why am I taking the Florida job? Why does he wear a visor? Who's his dad? Does anybody know who Lane Kiffin's dad is? His dad's Monty Kiffin. And that's a guy who is a football legend in Florida. Right? Like there's all kinds of reasons. The guy for the LSU job is Dan Lanning. That's the guy. Dan Lanning is the guy for the LSU job. And then if you can't get him, I think you go Eli Drinkwitz. Because I think, dude, Lane Kiffin is Florida football. He doesn't mind sweating down his back. He doesn't like, it is amazing to me that there's just the change that's going to happen this offseason. And I really hope Marcus Freeman gets a job. He won't leave Notre Dame. He's got a $58 million long year contract. I'd love to see him take a different job so we can be done with him. But the LSU job's too big for him. Yeah. And I think they know that.
He's not the killer that the SEC demands.
I think Eli Drinkwitz would be Dan Lanning. Listen, if I'm LSU, I'm throwing all the money I can to get Lane Kiffin. I think Lane 1, Dan Lanning 2, Eli Drinkwitz 3. Let's move on with her. You're getting one of those two.
Yeah, certainly.
And if you're LSU and I'm going to say this.
But this is my point about Florida, dude. This is my point about Florida, right? If you're Florida right now, and you know that LSU is after those two guys, don't you have to just crawl down Lane's throat and just scoop him up? Like, don't you just have to take control and stop waiting around and get that deal done? Take him off the table. Like, because if you're Florida and you just sit there and you're playing second fiddle to LSU, I mean, you're not really in control of your destiny here or in control of your ability to win an SEC championship.
I think the deal's done. I think Lane Kiffin's going to Florida. I think he's going to Florida.
So you think this is like Aaron Rodgers kind of, where the deal's done, we're just waiting for...
He's got a national championship contender at Ole Miss. He's not going to say two words about it. Like, I mean, You look at the, and I don't know if we still have the tape or not. We do, but listen to him talk here.
I have never made a decision based off of money, nor will I. And
Love that.
For a lot of people, they're just like, well, money and it does this and does that. I've seen too many examples in life where money does not buy happiness. So I am never going to make a decision off of money, nor do I care about it. And
it's good to have.
Jimmy Sexton gets really mad when I say that.
He's got enough.
We got to get this. We got to get this. And I'm like, Jimmy, I don't care. And he goes, I do.
He said, that's why I'm here. Of course.
You think him and Jimmy Sexton have talked about the LSU Florida situation?
They've talked about every job open, in my opinion.
He's getting the Florida job.
And I don't care what the Louisiana crawdaddy governor has to say about it. Jimmy's a damn good agent. And yes, Jimmy's a red ass and gets what he wants, and people resent Jimmy.
What a stupid thing to say.
But yeah, I mean, the Florida governor here, or the Louisiana governor here, essentially ripping Jimmy without naming him is pretty ridiculous.
Y'all need to start looking at who represents all these people, like these agents. You know what's interesting? If I'm not mistaken, Woodard's agent, Kelly's agent, the Texas A&M, they're all the same agent. Like, you realize if I would be, I don't know how many sports writers we got here today? Just you. We should have a bunch. Okay? Like, this is ridiculous. Lawyers would be disbarred for the way these agents act and the way they're able to represent. In fact, there's no doubt, they may even represent some of the players now.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
First of all, they're not all represented by Jimmy Sexton. Brian Kelly is represented, I believe, by Trace Armstrong. In fact, I know. Trust me. But anyway, to put a bow around this, I think Lane Kiffin is putting a deal together with Florida, and I think it depends on how the season ends. But I do believe that Dan Lanning will be a real candidate at LSU. I can't believe that if you're Dan Lanning, you turn down the two of the best jobs in the SEC.
It's quite the statement.
And I understand why you turned down Alabama. You didn't want to replace Nick Saban. I can get down with that. Dude, Nick Saban's the recruiter on the LSU job. So don't tell me that, I mean, that just would be remarkable. That would be remarkable.
Choices in life, bro. Choices in life.
All right, let's run through some comments. Thank you guys for being here. 12,000 of you watching the show. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Make sure you hit the like button. If you're on X, make sure you come over to YouTube. The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show on YouTube. If you are not on X, go follow Jake, SLC Jake on, and I don't know why, bro. What is StreamYard's doing? Somebody's texting me, asking me what Jake's Twitter is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all down too in the comment section. If you want to come up with some names for my Twitter handle, I do need to update it.
Name is Twitter handle. Yeah.
I just haven't been able to come up with
what about throating Dan?
Dan's throat?
No, it's not his throat, dude. Throating Dan? Is that Bound Jake?
No.
Vesty Boy?
Joey. Jake the Vest Guy. Nah, I don't think that's my handle, dude. I don't. Nah, yeah, no, I'm good.
How about Monty Sidekick? Only if you change yours to Japo Shitbox. I mean, I could.
Oh, and we're going to talk about a Japo Shitbox day. You wait till the end of the show.
Bro.
I got something for you today.
Bro, the non-sports story.
I got something for your ass today.
If you have a penis, it's going to be jarring. And James, you should probably not watch the end of the show today, because my guess is you're going to take some strays on this.
Lots of strays, dude.
Because you're just the guy that. See, like, and now you're being a red ass. Now you're being a red ass. Simp whoa. Comment, Tom. Simp vest.
No.
Okay. Puffy vests, Jake. Jakey 2 vest. You know, I mean, please. Peeping bulge Jakey. See, I like
Okay,
that.
see, I can't. What do you mean, dude?
ECU James has found the burning bush with this humor. James, Scott, it's not about what LSU can offer Landing that Oregon can't match. No, it's not about match. This is not about money. This is not about money. And again, because Oregon fan can't wrap their head around it, nobody is saying that Oregon can't match money or pay, or it's nothing to do with it. It's LSU. And I dare say it's not about Oregon. It's LSU. Jake, I should have moved to Florida.com and such. This is true. The Rectory. Oh, that would be amazing. Can you imagine Jake rolling in with a social handle, The Rectory or Butt Buzzer Boy? How about Butt Buzzer Boy?
Nah, I'm okay.
Who the fuck is that guy?
I'm gonna pass on that one, bro.
I'm gonna say that's a no.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that one,
bro. It's fine. It's fine. Tiger beats duck all day long. Could be. Hey, this is James. Welcome back.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Hi, this is James. Welcome back.
At Jake's back sweat. That could be. Do you have back sweat, Jake?
No.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Rectum. Exactly. It's not rectory or rectum. Rectum. Jakey two buzzers. That could be. Jake. Jakey two buzzers. I like it a lot.
You guys are children. You know that?
What's wrong with that? Should Oklahoma fire Brent Venables if he does not go to the college football playoff? Should they fire Brent Venables at Oklahoma? Jake and I are going to disagree on this after this from Prize Picks.
Yo, you think Dallas' Power 4 gonna drop 30 tomorrow?
Why you tripping?
Did you see his mom made a post about going to the game?
What? Hold up. His mama gonna be there?
He's been averaging like 34 points a game when she's there.
At least 40 when she be on that Jumbotron.
He don't like to let his mama down.
Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Cash in on your sports fandom with Prize Picks.
Prize Picks, America's favorite daily fantasy app, including Terry. Never mind. Make sure you download the app. Did you guys hear the Terry Rozier update today? They're not going to pay him or Chauncey Billups. While they're on suspension, they will not be paid. Players Union's real happy about that. Prize Picks, America's favorite daily fantasy app. Prize Picks, download it, open a new Prize Picks account, use the promo code Monty. Hey, Monty.
Hey, Monty.
Hey, Monty. Use the promo code Monty, M-O-N-T-Y, Monty, to open up a new Prize Picks account. Jake, you got anybody you like in Major League Baseball tonight? How about the do? Now, listen, I am hung.
I personally believe
a 34-inch baseball bat. Do I get any credit for the Shohei Ohtani prediction last night? Did I not, Jake? What did I tell you? They should have started him game 3, not game 4. Because you knew at some point the Shohei-inating better was going to hit the wall, right?
Yeah.
Could not locate the fastball, and he paid with a loss. It's easily the worst pitching performance we've seen from him.
Yeah, it is. It is. And, now we're in a position where, obviously it's
You're
tied.
going to apologize to me?
No, I'm not. No. I'm not apologizing to you.
Why not?
That's not happening.
No.
Yeah, it's not happening, dude. Can't do it.
Okay.